Improvement Board, the TIB, for Russell Road, Meeker to Hogan Complete Streets Award, the amount of $750,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes and
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Economic and Community Development Committee meeting. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I am Toni Troutner. I am the chair of this committee, and I am joined with Councilmember Michaud to my right, and joining us via Zoom is Councilmember Larmer. So welcome, everyone. Do we have any changes to the agenda today?
No changes.
All right. Seeing no changes, we will move on to our first item of business, which is the approval of our minutes from the March 14th, 2022 meeting. Could I please have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes.
All right. I have a motion, and Councilmember Larmer seconded that motion. Are there any discussion? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, we will pass those minutes into the record. Moving on to an information item, we have an update to Kent Service Water Design Manual, and I'd like to welcome Laura, who is our conservation analyst. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me tonight. Tonight I will be talking to you about the updates that we're making to the Kent Surface Water Design Manual. Will be the 22 edition. So, the Kent Surface Water Design Manual updates are a state law required update. There we go. And that state law is driven by the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit, or the NPDES permit. It's part of the Clean Water Act, and it's a permitting system to prevent pollution of stormwater and surface water from entering waters of the state. So Kent is under this permit so that we can discharge water from our public system into waters of the state, such as rivers, creeks, and streams. And it is under the Environmental Protective Agency, but they've delegated it to the Department of Ecology to oversee in the state of Washington. So, whoops, wrong way. Let me go back. Here we go. There you go. So the Surface Water Design Manual is one of those requirements, and we have to update that to be equivalent with Ecology's updates. So Ecology just updated their manual in 2019. It's a stormwater-specific manual that talks about, informs people how to develop within the city of Kent, the standards, analysis, development requirements they need to go through. And so King County updated theirs in 2021 to be equivalent with Ecology's, and we will be adopting the King County manual through the City of Kent manual to meet these requirements. So we'll be meeting King County and state requirements. And all development within the City of Kent must adhere to these requirements. Darn it, I keep pushing the wrong way. Here we go. So why do we have a Kent-specific manual? This manual actually describes how to use the King County manual within the City of Kent. So it uses City of Kent terminology, code references, city departmental structures, geographically driven standards, development review, approval processes, and permit processes. So most of the updates are to fix errors and omissions, and then we have to provide clarity and consistency with Kent standards, which were just adopted, or updated, sorry, in 2021. And so, and also to implement the new Washington Department of Ecology requirements. So, some of the Kent-specific updates are to require clear language to determine ownership of and maintenance responsibilities for components of a shared drainage system that would be shared between two properties. Changes to water quality and flow control maps, and that was mostly for clarity. Require bonded vinyl coating if galvanized materials are used so that it will prevent the leaching of zinc into the environment. And minor changes to be consistent with the newly updated Kent design and construction standards. We worked with both Public Works and Economic and Community Development to come up with these updates. We had them provide us with input of what needed to be updated so that we could meet the new standards and things that they saw that needed to be updated to more reflect Kent's processes. So the next steps, we still have some final formatting that's going on. SEPA is under review, Department of Commerce is under review, Land Use and Planning Board information will be after this meeting, and then we'll have another hearing on May 23rd for adoption, and then Kent Works Committee for the action item on June 6th. And you've been provided with a draft of the updates as well as a summary of the changes. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from my colleagues? So I just have one quick question. So you said that we're updating this because of policies that King County has made. How often do we update this? Or, because I think we've seen this come before us. Yeah.
When Ecology updates their manual, we're required under the NPDS permit to bring ours up to the same standards so that we have the same requirements as their manual. So they have the Stormwater Management Manual for Western Washington. So our standards need to be equivalent with that. So King County updated theirs to be the same, and then we adopt King County's. So it was kind of a whole, they adopt Ecology's, we adopt theirs through ours. So that's why we're doing it.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? All right, wonderful.
Okay, great.
Thank you for joining us. All right, and we do have one action item on our agenda today, and that is the lodging tax grant application and funding levels as recommended by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. So Michelle Wilmot is going to walk us through that.
Thank you, Councilmember Troutner. Michelle Wilmot, Economic and Community Development Manager here at the city, as well as liaison to Kent's Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. For those that might not know how our lodging tax fund is generated and how our grant program works, I'll just provide a quick recap. First of all, the city generates lodging tax revenues with a 1% sales tax on overnight hotel stays, B&B stays, any overnight establishment less than 30 days long. There is a 1% sales tax generated on that. In order for us to retain these sales tax dollars, which would typically go to the state, we are dictated by law to use those dollars for marketing purposes to promote business and leisure travel. So state law also dictates the makeup of the lodging tax committee. Everybody who has a lodging tax fund must have a committee to make recommendations to its city council members on how those dollars should be spent. Those committee members must be equal to those that provide the lodging tax funds, i.e. hoteliers or B&B owners, etc. And then the other half of the committee members must be eligible to use those funds. So chambers of commerce, downtown organizations, business industry associations, etc. We have as far as the committee, we have stopped doing lodging tax grants due to the pandemic because without overnight stays, there has not been revenue to even offer a grant program of any substantial size. So with the supplement of ARPA dollars back into the lodging tax fund, we were able to offer a small lodging tax grant program this year, which we opened March 1st, very public with our promotion of that opportunity, and closed the grant applications on March 31st. That is typical of our lodging tax schedule. If we can get back on a regular schedule, also anticipate offering another grant cycle in October. So twice a year is our typical process. With this, we had several applications come in this year, and the first, in your sheets, you should have a summary document, and I'll just walk through a few of these just to highlight what these different organizations intend to do for bringing visitors to Kent. The first one is with the Seattle Thunderbirds. They have long been a recipient of lodging tax grant funds simply because of the sheer amount of people they bring to our community and overnight stays that are generated. The committee members, ever since I've been working with this group, have typically supported the Thunderbirds and their marketing activities. What they plan to do, I don't know if you've all seen the team bus that they have, which displays the Visit Kent logo in our website. They put the Visit Kent logo on their webcast, so if you're watching games online, Visit Kent is also listed there. In addition to dasher boards at the Showwear Center, they have promotional nights, and they actually work with our own multimedia department to create videos that we can play to promote Kent eateries and hotels and restaurants and shops. The digital ticket platform where you can buy tickets, Visit Kent is listed there and is promoted, as are our hotels. There's a broadcast radio package part of the marketing proposal from the T-Birds, and then there's a link directly on their website to our Visit Kent program. There's also televised games for the Seattle and Portland games. So those are big markets for television coverage where Visit Kent's logo will also be prominently featured. They also work with our marketing team, Jay Ray, who does our Visit Kent tourism marketing on a year-round basis, and they partner with them in helping us create packages to bring influencers to town to write about what they're doing in Kent and if they're having a good time and go into games. So they actually provide J-Ray with 20 tickets, so we can actually offer complimentary tickets to media writers and tourism writers as they come to Kent. So with that, their request was for $70,500, and with the dollar amount that we had available this time, the committee agreed to set a funding level of about $200,000 for our grants. And that still left a few dollars in the fund to perhaps apply to some unforecasted opportunity that could come up. But nevertheless, it would also allow us to offer a small grant opportunity this fall should tourism recover and overnight stays recover, as we are hoping that they will. So the committee is recommending $60,000 appropriation versus the $70,500 that the T-Birds requested. Just to let you know, of all of the applicants, everyone had to take a reduction in their amounts of the grants from what they requested, just in order to be able to help support as many of these organizations as possible, with the exception of the International Festival. And which I'll touch on that in a moment. Women in Manufacturing is also a grant applicant who requested $10,000 from this fund to bring a manufacturing fundamental series to Kent. And Women in Manufacturing is a local chapter, the Washington State chapter of a national organization for women in the manufacturing industry. The nonprofit has been stood up right before COVID started, and they did a huge event here prior to COVID where Kent was listed as a sponsor and did multiple tours of area manufacturers, and then they actually provided video footage of those for us so we can promote and help support our manufacturing industry here in the community. They actually are partnering with a group of women at Blue Origin. There's a group of ladies called New Mercury, and they are in alignment with the Women in Manufacturing, who really work to promote manufacturing as a great career, even for ladies. And they actually mentor students, which we think is a phenomenal opportunity too, because there is a perspective by some that manufacturing careers are less than, and nothing could be further from the truth when it comes to the advances in technology that are not leaving manufacturing behind. But they're looking to do a several-part series, of which they're going to be featuring companies, including Blue Origin here in Kent, and bringing along young girls and people from around the region to participate in these series. And with the excitement with all that is going on with Blue Origin, we all know that people love to get inside that building and see what's going on. I think it'll be great to get our Kent young people into that space. So the committee is recommending a $9,000 allocation versus the $10,000 that they requested. On your sheet, you're going to see a couple of requests by the Kent Downtown Partnership, and we didn't, the committee opted to not fund those in this particular time, not because there was anything wrong with the events that the KDP wanted to support. One of those was the Cajun Music Festival, and that event actually was one that the committee and the council approved funding prior to COVID. So it's been delayed for a couple of years, and they want to finish and they want to do that event this summer on August 19th, actually. So the rules that our committee has established, though, say you can't come back for more money until you provide results from your first event, and then you need to, future event support needs to be to grow and expand that event. So in speaking with the KDP and Gayla, the executive director there, who is also a lodging tax committee member, she completely understood that, and she was fine. She's looking forward to bringing that event to Kent this summer. The other one, she's got the Meeker Street Nerd Party, which she had hoped to hold in February of next year, based on the success of the event that she just had. So given the smaller level of dollars available, and given that there is another funding cycle that she could potentially apply for this fall, she agreed to just hold off on her applications for this period of time. The next one is a grant application from the Kent Chamber of Commerce. You'll see that they asked for $135,000, and the committee actually recommended funding them at $50,000. One of the things that the Kent Chamber has spoken about doing is a business directory and tourism directory. One of the big differences that they are looking to do this year is include businesses that are not necessarily chamber members. So it excludes, previously directories have excluded other businesses in Kent and the advertising and marketing benefits that come with that. They're also looking to place these directories in our local hotel rooms to make certain that our shops and restaurants and eateries are all promoted in there in the hotel rooms, because when people are here, we've got a captive audience, so we want to make sure that they know that there's great places to also eat and shop and what have you when they're in town, especially if they're out-of-town visitors. They might not know about the opportunities that we have here to feature those companies. Also, when it comes to some of the chamber events, that's part of these funds would be used for sponsorship of a lot of the events. So Visit Kent and the City of Kent will be listed as sponsors in many of their upcoming events, even including the Business Expo, which is coming up. I believe that's next week. So the chamber really wants to be a partner in some of these other business events too that are coming up. So I'm hoping to really have them collaborate very closely with some of these other business organizations that are bringing events here for the benefit of not only those members that are coming to town, but to obtain the services that the chamber can provide. I mentioned the Kent International Festival. They are the one applicant that the committee felt strongly about supporting in full for their request of $10,000. They plan to bring a festival to Shower Center here just next month on June 18th. This event has also been delayed. I think they did it virtually last year, but they're really excited to bring this back. The festival, what's really great about it is that people can come and it's completely free for attendees. And this is a super way to feature the diverse, community of Kent that is diverse, but the cultural activities and dancing and music and performances that the festival brings will be provided to people who attend for free. It's going to be an excellent opportunity for people to learn about the cultures that call Kent home. The committee members just felt it was a great gesture of goodwill and with with the fact that offering this for a free entertainment opportunity for our community. We don't anticipate it will generate overnight stays necessarily, but the funds will absolutely help them pay some performers so they can not have to have people just volunteering to perform. In some cases, we anticipate that might help drive some of the attendance as well. They're expecting between 6,000 and 7,000 people to come to Kent for that day. The next one is called the Gut Check Tournament. This is a group that holds wrestling tournaments for high school kids, and it's national for sure, but it is international in scope. They have asked for $30,000, and the committee is recommending we provide them $25,000 to bring their event to Kent next month. They anticipate 4,000 to 5,000 attendees to come, not just because there's wrestlers, but because there's coaches and parents and families and the like. They are already doing marketing and promotion for this, and they're actually seeking other sponsorship opportunities, so they're not just solely relying on Kent's lodging tax fund to bring this to Kent. This is an expansion of what they've done before. They haven't held this event in the summer. They typically hold it in January, right after the first of the year, which is a great time for the hoteliers because it's pretty slow. But even with this event, the demand for space for wrestling tournaments is really large, and ShoWare Center is an excellent place for them to do that. The event organizers are partnered with our hoteliers, with our GM at ShoWare Center, with our restaurants and what have you. So they are really trying to integrate themselves into the community to support this event. Finally, well, no, not finally, second to last, Food Northwest is a food manufacturing nonprofit, an industry association, if you will. It is based out of Portland, but they cover Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and parts of Northern California with the support for the manufacturing and food processing industry. And with the number of food manufacturers here in Kent, of which there are a significant number, this group wants to bring an exposition to ShoWare Center. I know your sheet says Green River Event Center, but we're actually working with Tim over at ShoWare on this. They're from out of town, and they didn't realize we had a Green River College at Kent Station. But they're looking to bring this to our community next year. They applied for $25,000, and the committee is recommending $19,000 to support this event. But there's all sorts of industry issues, workforce certainly is one, technology improvements, robotics, food regulations, recycling regulations. This is just a great way for this industry to come together and collaborate and problem solve. They anticipate bringing about 500 people here. I think it'll be great to get our food manufacturers engaged with an industry that is an industry organization that so wants to be supportive. Now, lastly, the Pacific Northwest Aerospace Alliance is a statewide aerospace industry organization that is looking to bring a tech innovation and conference expo to ShoWare Center in September. They're already working with ShoWare Center on what this looks like, but they're looking at robotics and laser. There's all sorts of new and advanced technologies that are being utilized in the aerospace industry. What's going to be cool is the expo will be open to the public, so people can come and see what kind of technology is being used in our aerospace industry. They will also have this is a 2-day event, so they anticipate bringing people overnight as well. There will be just a conference industry representative portion of the event that isn't open to the public, but they anticipate bringing in lots of C-level executives from aerospace companies here, and they're partnering with me and my team in economic development to make certain that area companies here in the region are participating in this event as well. One of the things that, just to give you a heads up, the CEO of the Pacific Northwest Aerospace Alliance is a Kent High School graduate, and she will be here at the next council meeting. She's asked to have support to declare Women in Aerospace Day on May 20th. So she is engaged here in Kent, even though she operates a statewide organization, and is thrilled that the committee opted to support this event. So with that, I wanted to just see if you have any questions about these events, and if not, we ask for, on behalf of the committee, ask the council's support to fund these at the funding levels requested by the committee.
Great, thank you so much, Michelle. Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you. So Michelle, a couple questions. So I want to understand a little bit more about the Cajun Music Festival. And are they receiving, did you say that because they had received money prior and then weren't able to execute because of COVID? So do they basically still have money in a pot somewhere from us to fund this? Or are they getting...
Yeah, sorry about that, Councilmember Larimer. I should have mentioned in my overview that the way the grant program works, it's sort of on a reimbursable, it's not sort of, it is on a reimbursable basis. We actually, once the council approves these funding levels, at the, you know, we get under contract, and then we provide half of the funding level that has been requested up front. Because we are required by the state to report the results of the activities that have been supported with these dollars, we built in this mechanism to be able to ensure that we get those results back. Prior to our restructuring of the program, there was no incentive for our grantees to provide us those results. So, yes, the KDP has half of the money that they received for in a previous grant cycle prior to COVID to support this event, to support the Cajun Festival. The committee's
so in essence, they have some money from us.
Yes, they
from the prior. Okay.
Yes, they had asked for $10,000 previously, and the committee recommended they receive 10. So they, upon the submission of a results report from this particular Cajun Festival that is coming up, then we can give them the second half. Okay. So Gayla had almost forgot that she had this money that we had already supported. And second of all, the committee's bylaws say that you don't get to apply for event support until after those results are in and you're looking to expand a future event.
Totally understand. I just wanted to make sure that they had gotten some money at some point, because I think we can all agree COVID kind of threw a loop in the best laid policies. So second question then is on the Pacific Northwest Aerospace. The estimated attendance of only 350, are those 350, is that the like C-suite executives, or that just seems like really low?
Yes.
Okay.
That is what they anticipate as far as paid members. The expo itself will be open to the public, so there could very well be a lot more people than that at Shower Center.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, with that, a motion would be in order.
Madam Chair, I move to authorize the council award a total of $200,000 to the 2022 Lodging Tax Advisory Grant applications at funding levels identified by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I just want to make one comment. First of all, thank you very much for this information. It's really great to see a variety of events coming, especially now that we're coming out of COVID and everybody's looking forward to kind of getting out there and doing some things. We've got some great things coming, so I think that is really great. And I also want to give a shout out to Councilmember Boyce because he represents, or Council President Boyce, he represents us on that committee, and I know he takes a lot of pride in being a part of that and making those decisions, so I want to thank him as well. And with that, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you again, Michelle.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.
All right, and that brings us to the last item in our agenda, which is adjournment. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a good evening, and we are adjourned.